Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about some of the books that I've read recently, and I know I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but I want to try to do one every 5 or so books that I read. If you want to keep up to date with the books that I read and stuff, I'll leave my link to Goodreads in the description box below, just if you are on it and you want to see the books that I read, the books that I want to read and stuff like that, or what I think about all the books, then I'm going to leave it below. If you want to check it out, you can do that. I'm going to start with one of my favorites that I've read. It's part of a trilogy that I really like, and this is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. I think that's how you say her name. So this is the third part of a trilogy. I've talked about the other two in other videos before, and this is something that I really like. It's a book, I mean, this is the third part, so the story in the third part I don't want to tell you that much about, just because if you haven't read the first and second, it can be a bit of a spoiler. The main idea of the world this happens in, it's a world where magic exists and it's a couple magicians. It's a very different idea, and you kind of have parallel universes, if you want to say, where in some of them magic exists, some of them magic doesn't. There's also like a bit of like a royal family in one of them, or like in a couple of them, and they connect to each other in some way. And yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's one that you really want to read and discover for yourself. But it's one of my favorite trilogies. I really like it. I've been telling a lot of people to read it. I don't think many of them have. Just because when you hear it's about magic, you're like, oh, I'm not really gonna like it that much, but it's really good. It's a really good fantasy book. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be young adult or not. It's like in between. It has a bit of a young adult theme to it, but at the same time it doesn't. So it's kind of for everyone, I would say. The second one I want to talk about is definitely a young adult one, and this is called Scythe by Neal Shusterman. The idea behind this one is that it's sort of a futuristic world where people don't really die of natural conditions. There have been medical advancements and people just don't die, so they create a scythedom, I think that's what they call it. It's just like a council of people who become scythes, and they go and kill people just because of population control and things like that. It seems like a very dark idea, but it works for this book, and it just follows the story of two people who become apprentices to the scythes and what happens to them and things like that. It's really interesting to see how the rules of the world are and how they work, just because I think it's something that could potentially happen in the future. It's something that realistically we're not gonna have people become scythes and kill people the way they do in this book, because it's a bit of a fantasy dystopian sort of thing. But it is interesting to read about how population control will happen if we have enough medical advancements that people just don't get sick. I thought it was a really good idea. I really liked the book. The middle part of it becomes a bit slow, but I really liked the end, and I think either there's a second part or they're gonna come out with a second part. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading that, just because I quite liked it. I really liked the idea of the world, and that's basically what I like the most in books, rather than the actual story of the characters or the character development. Rather than the actual story, I do like the development of the world and the different ideas people just have and how creative they are and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I really like that one, and I think you guys should read it. The next one is called Wolf by Ryan Groudon? I don't know how to say his last name, but this was a bit of a weird one for me. I didn't enjoy it that much, but I think a lot of people might. It is a young adult book, and I think the reason I didn't like it that much is because it's a lot about the character and a lot about what happens to her in this world. But the main idea is that I don't remember that much about it, which is not good, because I try to not read about what they are before doing this video, so I tell you guys my actual opinions and the idea that I got from them. It's sort of an alternative history sort of thing mixed with fantasy and science fiction. This character, this girl, is in the early 1940s, and she's going to try to kill Hitler, which is a weird idea, and you're like, how is this young adult science fiction and fantasy sort of, if that's what it's about? But it's a really weird idea that it combines all those elements, and she tries to go on this race to, at the end, be able to meet Hitler and kill him. That's the main idea of the book. It is a bit strange. I didn't enjoy it too much, but I thought it was alright. I quite liked the original idea and some of the elements in it, And I know a lot of people who like it. I just sometimes read things and I'm like, I'm not too keen on it, but I know a lot of people will like it. So that's why I'm telling you guys about it. Now we're going with Release by Patrick Ness. If you've seen any of my previous videos about books, you guys know I really like Patrick Ness. I've read at least 3 books from him. But I'm not, again, I don't know why I'm saying this again, but I didn't really enjoy this one as much as I would have liked. But I know a lot of people who have read it and have loved it. If you've read The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, you would know that he does this thing where he tells 2 stories in one book. One of them is more about the characters and the other one is more like a science fiction fantasy sort of thing. He does the same on this one, and it happens, for me at least, I become more interested in the secondary story rather than the one about the character, like the main character. So I didn't really care that much about this boy and what happened to him. Maybe because I couldn't relate to him. I know a lot of people would, a lot of young people would. So give it a go, I know a lot of people love it. But I just didn't connect with them. But I was really interested in the secondary story and I wish it would have been more about that. But overall, it's a really good young adult book and that's why I'm telling you guys about it. I love Patrick Ness and I'm going to read more of his books because I know he has a couple trilogies and stuff that I haven't read yet. I don't have much to say about it, so that's what it is. The last fiction book I have is called All Systems Red by Martha Wells. And this is not young adult, although I know a lot of people who read young adult might like it. It's an adult science fiction book. The main idea of it is that it's in the future and AI has become prominent in the world and there are many robots who work for the people and who do things for the people. And in this book we become space explorers and things like that. So it's quite space related in a way and at the same time goes with AI. I know a lot of people have been commenting on how it relates to the AI feeling of Westworld, the TV show, which I love. It is similar like that. It's kind of like Westworld but in space sort of thing. Not really the theme park sort of thing, but what the topics about AI and what happens with the robots. So it's a killer bot, a murder bot. This murder bot goes with people and they do different missions and things like that, but it's just about how people work with robots and how robots who might become conscious and have self-consciousness get involved with people and, you know, all those ideas that are just crazy but I love about AI and maybe the dangers of it. It's quite a short one as well, so if you think it might be interesting to you, please give it a go. I really enjoyed it. It's really short. It's not a novel, it's a novella, I think, so it's quite shorter and really easy to read, really interesting, and yeah, really liked it. I have 2 final books for you which are non-fiction and they're both sort of space related. The first one is Spaceman by Mike Massimino. If you guys don't know who he is a NASA astronaut. He was featured on The Big Bang Theory in a couple episodes as an astronaut, which he actually is, so that's a really cool thing. If you've seen it on that and you thought he was an actor, he's not, he's actually an astronaut, he's really funny on it. Regardless of that, this is a really good book about how he became an astronaut, the struggles with NASA and things like that, what he learned through the missions he did and things like that. I quite enjoy books about astronauts. Scott Kelly, who was in space for a year, is gonna come out with one in September or October, I think, so I'm really looking forward to reading that. But this one by Mike Massimino is really good. If you guys enjoy those sort of things, sort of biographical books about inspiring people, this one is for you. And the last one that I have for you is Hidden Figures, and actually have this book here with me. I usually read ebooks just because it's easier for me to read on the go, but I do have this one physically, which I'm really happy about. Hidden Figures, of course, this one has the poster of the movie. If you didn't see the movie, please give it a go. It's a lot easier to go through than the book. With that I mean the film is made so it's a lot more dynamic and a lot more for the masses. But this book is really good. It basically tells the background story of these 3 women who became really important for NASA, and obviously they're like black women in science, in engineering and things like that, mathematics as well, which is something I'm really interested in. I really like this book, and again, this is really inspiring. If you're looking for inspiring books to read, this is one of them. You can see their struggles and what they were able to accomplish in their lives and how they basically helped NASA do all these crazy things. And that's gonna be everything for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know so I can make more videos about books, because it's something that I really like. And yeah, that's gonna be everything. I will see you guys later with another video. Bye!